What is up, everybody? It is Josh from the TCG block, and I wanted to do a different kind of video. We have a lot of deck build videos. I have started doing some new random, I guess, ramble sessions. I did a video recently where I was talking about the uniqueness of Magic the Gathering and Pokemon and YGO. Three TCGs that I love dearly and everyone else does around the world. That's not unique. What I did want to talk about today is the top 5 sets in YGO of the year of 2021 that are personally my favorites. Obviously, these aren't going to be potentially the sets with the most expensive cards and the best chase cards, but these are sets that really excite me the most whenever I look back and think about them in the year of 2021. They're definitely sets which vastly disappointed myself, Tyler, and I guess a bunch of you guys, if you guys are a fan of YGO. But I definitely did want to speak about the top 5 favorite sets of 2021 for me personally. So this set, like I said, isn't objectively the best 5 sets of 2021. You guys, if you have a different top 5, absolutely let me know in the comments below. I love going through and actually going through the sets that you guys list and see if there's actually anything I missed and actually may need to pick up some extra cards. But yeah, I guess we'll start now. My number 5 set, which is a bit controversial, a lot of people didn't care for it, but I think it actually doesn't get the love that it deserves, is Dawn of Majesty. Dawn of Majesty is a relatively cheap set now. You can probably find it in AUD. I can see it going for around $95. I've seen a lot, which is actually quite cheap for an entire booster box. But it introduced a lot of cards, which I absolutely love. One of the first ones is the brand new archetype B-Trooper. B-Trooper single-handedly makes insects viable again. And I know Tyler from the other half of the TCG block, he has adored the insect archetype with Metamorphized Insect Wing, and I think it was Cicada King being one of the most prominent insect cards for quite some time, but they really sucked. Honestly, insects sucked before B-Trooper, and B-Trooper, whilst being its own archetype, Konami has really been able to slot this archetype into the pre-existing insect archetypes for the most part, and it's just so smooth the way it works. Usually when there's a new archetype implemented, usually it really just works with itself, or it's an engine, like Invoked or Brave Token, which is going to come out later this month. But B-Trooper really works on its own, and it works really well with a lot of the old insect archetype cards. So B-Trooper is phenomenal. That's one of the biggest reasons why I love this set, even though I don't personally play insects or B-Trooper. There was also Despia, the introduction of Despia cards. Their foundation can be very, very strong. There are some key cards in there which are very, very powerful. They work with a lot of the branded spells and traps, and they're very powerful. I don't personally play it. Tyler doesn't personally play it, but I think they're really, really cool. I have an obsession with the Fiend, type. A lot of people do love Fiend types. They're very, very popular. It's more lore to the Dogmatica and Albaz lore, which is always welcome, honestly. It's something that Konami's been doing very, very well, and I wish they would do more of it, and I think they're going to continue to do so. But Despia being quite fun to play, quite good. Some of the card prices can be a little bit pricey, but it's worth it. And then obviously on the other spectrum of that, you've got Sue Ships, which every single one of these are common. I think I've seen every Sue Ship card for like 20 cents each. It's not meta relevant. It's maybe even can't compete casually competitively, but it's weird that Konami, and kind of neat that Konami did a whole archetype just in common Sue Ships. I just think it's a fun archetype. But 3 new archetypes is actually quite cool in a set. They printed some insane support for Stardust Dragon. There's some really good cards in there. I think some of the cards I've seen recently go for like $30 per copy, which is quite insane, but it's cool. I like the Stardust Dragon archetype. There was Gizmex. Gizmex are now playable as an archetype pure. Whether they're great or not, that's yet to be seen. I think they do need an extra deck. They just need some more cards. But the fact, if you really like Gizmex and kind of where they come from, then it's cool. You can run Gizmex. There's absolutely no reason you can't. Then obviously there were some crazy single cards in this set. You know, Ira Sword Soul probably being one of the most sought after cards in this set. Absolutely phenomenal. I'm yet to get my hands on it, but I would like to. It wasn't as great as everyone was kind of hoping it would be. Everyone thought it would get meta play in certain builds, but it hasn't. It hasn't. I think for the most part it hasn't. But it's still a great card. Pick it up if you can find it cheap. The Albion card is quite good. That does get some play in a lot of Albaz decks. Sulfur Cord got their in-archetype link, and I think if Konami's ever making a Pendulum archetype, they should always follow it up with an in-archetype link monster, so you're not forced to go out of archetype. So I do really appreciate that. Lower Gaith was a really interesting and honestly quite underappreciated generic fairy support monster. I run that in Sulfur Cord as well, and I really appreciate it. I think it's a really good card. Messiah was an interesting Pendulum monster, which is quite splashable in a lot of Pendulum builds. It has dropped in price drastically. I think when it first came out in AUD, it was hovering at around $50 to $40. Now I've seen it go for around $8 to $9. So consider picking it up. It is a really good card. Slower Swallow, if you're doing like a Lyrilisk build, or if you just want to make use of a 20-cent card, Slower Swallow is one that really kind of went under the radar. And I know MST videos did a Lyrilisk deck build, and they ran Slower Swallow in that deck because it's a good card. It's like 20 cents. There was a Pendulum Treasure, which was a damn good card. High Ritual Art, which is a damn good card in certain builds, quite specific, but I personally love it. And then obviously Ready Fusion being one of the most expensive cards in the set as well. Obviously going through all these cards, the B-Trooper archetype, the Despia archetype, there's a lot of cards in this set, and I think it really does go underappreciated. And obviously the archetype that really made me excited is the Majesty archetype in this set. Majesty objectively, and I know they suck. They suck right now, especially when they just came out. They didn't have a boss monster. They didn't have too much, but they were fun. I feel like Majesties did utilizing the normal monsters right. A lot of the time when you've got normal monsters, you don't ever want to see them on the field. And whilst Majesty is similar to that, there are so many ways that you can build Majesty where you can utilize normal monsters in many different ways. So I personally love Majesty as an archetype, and I think with Majesty and everything else I've mentioned, that is the reason why I adore Dawn of Majesty so much. Obviously, it's lacking a little bit, but that is why it's my number 5 spot for top 5 favorite sets of 2021. Coming in at number 4, Burst of Destiny. Burst of Destiny was a crazy set. A lot of chase cards, and whilst there's less to talk about, it's still jam-packed with so much. Obviously, the new archetypes being Sword Soul, a really, really strong meta deck, and insanely expensive if you want to build it. But the revitalization of Synchros is really, really cool. Their card art is top tier. Everyone loves the look of Sword Souls. And it kind of builds into more Fallen of Albaz lore, Dogmatic lore, whatever you want to call it. I think it's really, really cool. So Sword Souls in itself really just bump Burst of Destiny up to just a crazy tier. For the Wonderees was interesting as an archetype. I think it has potential. I think people have managed to utilize it in really cool ways, but overall it doesn't interest me too much, but it is neat. The artwork is super unique. I really, really appreciate it. And then I think lastly, what was it? It was Ice Jade, which was another cool archetype that needs a lot of support, but I like where it's at the moment. I would like to see them continue to support Ice Jade because they're like little water droplet waifus or something. I don't know. They're cool. But I think mainly where this set shines for me, whilst it doesn't have as much as Dawn of Majesty had in terms of what I love, this set, to me, it feels like it managed to provide boss monsters and finish decks off for so many archetypes. Trouble Sunny came out for Live Twin, and Live Twin, in my opinion, were kind of unplayable pure without Trouble Sunny. Tyler runs Trouble Sunny in his Live Twin deck, and it's made that deck an instant problem in our casual competitive meta. So Trouble Sunny is a fantastic card to have in this set. We had the Daimon, Conflagrant Calamity, if I remember correctly, the Synchro boss monster for Majesty. If you can get this out properly and utilize him properly, he's immensely scary in the Majesty archetype. So that one I have to give praise to. There's finally the Magic-y boss monster with the Thunder type. I can't remember his name because it's really, really weird. Magic-y Fiend. He is insane. He allows you to actually play the best trap card in the archetype, which is Magic-y Unlocking Counter Trap, which negates spell and traps. It's really strong. And it has a good destruction effect. It's the card you want to end your board on most of the time, and you can get it out easy. So Magic-y going from here has gone to here, which still isn't good, but it's an improvement. It's a boss monster. You've got a boss monster for Live Twin. You've got a boss monster for Majesty. You've now got a boss monster for Magic-y. And guess what? Reptilian's got support in this set, which was so out of left field. And now they've got somewhat of a boss monster, though I think Reptilians need a lot more work, but the cards they have provided are quite good. I really, really like them, but it's cool. They got support. They got some good combo pieces, some good consistency pieces, and they got a boss monster, which is really cool. Rocket's got some more support. I think it was like Rocket Caliber. You've got the Ritual monster, which is really good, but then trying to fit in Ritual cards with a Link-based climbing deck, which also has Xyz fusions and Synchro. It's a bit all over the place, but I would like to mess around with it because the Ritual Rocket Monster is absolutely insane. If you can get it off, negating a summon is extremely powerful. And then you got some single cards. Small World, which is a really good card if you know how to utilize it. It's a bit convoluted, but extremely powerful if you can get it off. Incredible Ecclesia, which is insane. That card right now is hovering at around $80 to $90. It has actually gone up since its release, and I was actually lucky enough. Tyler and I bought one box of Burst of Destiny, and in the very first pack, we pulled Incredible Ecclesia. So that's one of the coolest pulls we've ever had. I wish we kind of filmed that, honestly, but that was a really, really, really good card. It's a meta-relevant card. It's extremely expensive, but it's damn good if you can get your hands on it. And then obviously the go-to catch card. Go-to card that everyone just wants to pull, for lack of a better term, is Destiny Hero Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer, I think it's called. It's got a really convoluted name, but this card's insane. It's had so much success in the meta. It's splashable, and it's kind of rivaled the firepower of Dragoon, which is crazy to see from a Destiny Hero card. But the fact it's so splashable means it's always going to get play. People love and hate it. I personally love it. It makes me personally want to build Destiny Heroes. But yeah, I mean, these cards, it finishes off, like it adds another boss monster to Destiny Heroes as well. There are so many cards in here which add boss monsters and finish decks off and kind of bring them to that next level. So for that reason, I have to have this set at number 4. At number 3, I have Ghost from the Past. Now, this is also another set that people either love it or hate it. I personally love it. It introduced Starry Night, which, Konami, why the heck did you name it Starry Night? Holy Night in the OCG, when it had like that translation, was so much cooler. Starry Night sounds really lame, but Starry Night, not a great archetype, but it is cool. The retrain of that old vanilla dragon monster from back in the day is really cool. Now it has an archetype based around it, so that's always super appreciative. You had the Sun Avalon, I believe it's called, which is the Link-based plant archetype, which is kind of interesting. I'm not a big fan of either of those. That's not the reason why I love this set. The reason I love this set, I mean, honestly, this whole video is biased, by the way, but I'm a big fan of Time Thief. Time Thief is one of my favorite archetypes to run. And the fact that this got a whole reprint for the entire archetype in ultra rare, from like common to ultra rare, hell yeah, I'm a big fan of that. So that's why I love this set a lot. But then we also got Time Thief Adjuster and Time Thief Double Barrel finally in the TCG. And those two cards are extremely good for the Time Thief archetype, especially Adjuster. So that alone makes me really, really love this set. It feels like it was somewhat made for me because I got into Time Thief shortly before this was announced. Fairy Tail got some good support, and overall, I love it. I'm a big fan of Fairy Tail. They're splashable in Spirit Charmers, and Spirit Charmers, if you guys are aware, one of my all-time favorite archetypes easily. Necros got support. They've got a really good boss monster with the negate, so that's really cool. Shadow got a couple new cards, I believe. That was really, really good. And they're even a little bit quite pricey now, I've found. Heretic got a lot of reprints in this set and a new card, and I love it. It's actually, I've bought pretty much all the cards from this set for Heretic, and I'm in the middle of building Heretic at the moment. I just kind of wish they reprinted more of the main deck monsters because they're actually quite hard to get your hands on for some reason. But yeah, big fan of Heretic. Vampires got support with Voivide, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Voivide. Dracula is what it was called in the OCG, but he's quite good. The next wave of vampire support is obviously going to be much better if you guys are familiar with it. But, I mean, it's a cool looking vampire card, and it's quite good if you can manage to get it off. It just doesn't sync too well with the existing one. And then loads of Drag Unity support for this one. I personally don't play Drag Unity, but I appreciate it. People love it. It's a fan-loved, fan-favorite archetype. But it's cool. It's cool that it got lots of support. There's a lot of decks and archetypes in here that got support, and I think that's why I love this set so much. And it mainly is, honestly, just the Time Thief portion. The entire deck is just ultra rare, and I get 2 new imports from the OCG in this set. Honestly, that was enough to make me love this set enough. So I'd probably play Starry Night if it did get an extra deck monster. Honestly, I mean, I quite like it. I think the art's really cool. I just also kind of wish they didn't call it Starry Night. My second set of this list, well, I guess the top 2 is what I should call it. I really just had a brain dead moment there. And I know it's not technically a mainline set or anything. It happens every year, but this is my personal favorite list, the 2021 Megaton. I really thought this would be my favorite set of the year. Not really any new cards in this set, but as you guys are familiar, the Megatons are just reprints out the arse. I feel like, for the most part, 90% of the cards that we wanted were reprinted in this set. Some cards of our favorite cards had rarity bumps. Some of the cards that we wanted, which were extremely expensive, are now extremely cheap. I just feel like this 2021 Megaton was a phenomenal set, and I really, really appreciate it. Virtuworld had rarity bumps, and it's only the second printing for them as well. But now I get to run a lot of, like Jishi, for example. I get to run him in ultra rare, and I feel like he deserves ultra rare. Lulu got reprinted, and finally she is much more obtainable now with that price range. Shen, if you want to run him, he is much more obtainable now. There's just loads of reprints for Virtual World, which either got the rarity bump or it's a second wave of them if you want to build Virtual World, which have been competitive since their release, and I believe it was Phantom Rage, and correct me if I'm wrong. Dogmatica got reprints, so Ecclesia is much more attainable. Fluid Elite is much more obtainable. Fallen of Albaz is much more obtainable. I love what they've done with the Dogmatica set. They've really just made everything obtainable, and you can get, Punishment as a rarity bump card and things like that, and that's just really cool. Tri-Brigade, finally, Fractal is not $45 AUD. You can get it. I think I saw it for like 10 in a cool prismatic secret rarity as well, which is just so damn cool. I love the fact that Tri-Brigades and Shrag was obtainable in this set. Shrag was like $3-4. Before this, in Secret Rare, he was $40. I think the cheapest I saw him was $30, but he was hovering between the $30 to $40 range. So a complete reprint of the Tri-Brigade archetype was insanely good, and I thank Konami for that. There were some Phantom Knight cards, which were really, really cool to see get reprinted. There were Shadow cards like Schism got reprinted, which was obviously everyone that plays Shadows plays Schism. Schism is really good. At Ignista, wow, I can never pronounce that. Ignista got reprints out the arse as well, and that's always cool to see because that's always a kind of budget competitive build that you can do. And then Adamancipator as well. Researcher, I believe, was like sitting at $70 before this before this set dropped has now dropped to incredibly affordable, because I actually don't know the price, but I know it is affordable. And that whole archetype practically got reprinted as well. So, I mean, that's support galore. And then obviously the chase card of the set was Crossout Designator, the anti-Ash Blossom card that everyone wants to run. That was like $110 when the pre-orders went up. You got reprinting of AA Zeus. You had Alpha reprint. You had Odd Eyes Revolution Dragon, which, believe it or not, was $70 at one point. Now I think I see it for like $2 to $4. Ice Dragon's Prison got reprinted in this, a meta-relevant card for so long. Triple Tactics Talent, which is always going to be insanely good with hand traps and things like that. That got reprinted in this set. Nadir Servant got reprinted in this set. Sky Striker Ace Rose got reprinted in this set. Both of those cards were sitting at like $70 to $90 before this. Now Nadir Servant is between $20 and $30. Rose I picked up for like $10. And they've probably all dropped since I purchased them. There's just so much in this set that I love. And I know maybe the 2021 Megaton's a bit of a cop-out, but there's just so much here. I didn't feel like this with the 2020 Megaton. I enjoyed the 2020 Megaton, but the 2021 Megaton really made me fall in love with this set because it allowed me to either finish all these decks off or rarity bump so many of these decks that I love. And that is the reason why that is at my 2 spot. Now, the number 1 set for me, personally, of 2021 was probably one of the newest sets towards the end of the year. And this one actually really caught me off guard. It is Legendary Duelist Synchro Storm. I don't play many Synchro decks. And I don't know why I love this set so much. It had some cool cards, like the Baron de Fleur, I believe it's called, is a cool Synchro card that people love to build around. Had some cool Clear Wing Synchro cards, which are always really, really good. It had Speedroids galore, and I don't give a single shit about Speedroids, I'll be honest with you. But if you love Speedroids, this set must have made you bust so quick if you love Speedroids. It was just every card, it seemed like it was Speedroids. I saw people open packs of this set, and it was just Speedroid cards. 1 through 5 or whatever it was just Speedroid cards. So for the fact that I don't care about Speedroids at all, should really put it into perspective of how much I love Lyrilisk. They are single-handedly the reason why this set, Synchro Storm, has taken the number 1 spot for me. As much as I loved the 2021 Megaton, and as versatile as it was, and as the impact it had was so great in terms of the current decks I'm building, or the decks that I wanted to build, Lyrilisk became one of my all-time favorite archetypes to play because of this set. Ensemble Robin with a non-once per turn bounce of a special summon is insane and extremely easy to get out. Recital Starling with the soft once per turn search from the main deck is absolutely insane. Celeste Wagtail being the spell or trap searcher of the deck is insane. Lyrilisk's Bird Call being the spell or trap, the monster searcher and special summon is insane. The amount of consistency and kind of toolbox aspect that this really brought to the Lyrilisk archetype has instantly shot this up to relevancy. You know, Lyrilisk has always kind of been that archetype that people love to run for the OTK potential with, you know, Independent Nightingale and things like that. But this really, in my opinion, has given this deck obviously more relevancy, but it's given it a little bit of a toolbox. You can go the long run, you can go control with Ensemble Robin and Nightingale. You've got searches now, you've got multiple ways of searching within this deck, and they all intertwine with each other so perfectly. And this was all before the Brothers of Legends support, which is my 6th spot, honestly, but obviously I want to round it to a top 5. But, you know, the negate that came and things like that, this was before that, and this was already really strong. I'm a big fan of the Lyrilisk archetype, and the fact that all the cards got reprinted in this single set with the new support cards, which were insanely good, I can't help but love Synchro Storm as a set, and I have to say, it is my number 1 favorite set for 2021. So that is it for the video. It's just my personal favorite top 5 sets for YGO of 2021. I will be doing my least favorite, worst 5 sets of YGO 2021. There are a lot of sets that I want to talk about and reasons why. But yeah, let me know what you guys personally love to see in 2021. Like I said, these are personally my favorite top 5 sets of 2021. So let me know what you guys think. If I've left out any cards from sets that should have garnered attention, I apologize. There was just so much to go through. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.